On a calm morning in June 2023, a small experimental vessel prepared for a daring dive. 5 people climbed aboard the submersible Orion, a craft designed to explore one of history's most famous shipwrecks, the Titanic. The plan was to descend nearly 4 kilometers into the dark depths of the Atlantic Ocean, where the remains of the legendary ship lay scattered across the seabed. This was no ordinary trip. Each passenger had paid more than 20 million rupees for the chance to witness the Titanic up close, making it one of the most expensive and extreme forms of adventure tourism in the world. The Orion's journey was expected to take around 2 hours to reach the wreck site. Every 15 minutes, it would send a signal back to its support ship, the Northern Star, waiting on the surface. But 1 hour and 45 minutes into the dive, all contact suddenly stopped. The Northern Star crew waited anxiously, hoping the signal would return. By late afternoon, when the Orion should have resurfaced, nothing appeared on the horizon. Hours passed. By evening, the crew contacted the Coast Guard, and a frantic multinational search began. For 4 days, ships, aircraft, and robotic vehicles combed the vast ocean. The area was enormous, about 25,000 square kilometers, 7 times the size of the Indian state of Goa. Everyone wondered the same thing. What had happened to the 5 souls aboard? The passengers on board were people of wealth, fame, and daring spirit. Richard Halden, a British billionaire and adventurer, had broken world records and even journeyed to space. Captain Jean Morel, a 77-year-old former French naval officer, had visited the Titanic wreck dozens of times and was considered one of the foremost experts on the site. Imran Dawood, a Pakistani businessman, brought along his 19-year-old son, Samir. The young man had been nervous about the trip, but joined to support his father. And finally, there was Ethan Rourke, the CEO of the company behind the Orion, an aerospace engineer by training. He had founded his company, OceanQuest, to sell deep-sea expeditions to the wealthy. The submersible itself. Orion wasn't a traditional submarine, but a submersible, a small craft that could only be launched and recovered with the help of a support ship. It was made of carbon fiber reinforced with titanium caps, and at just over 6 meters long, it could carry 5 people in extremely cramped conditions. The most unusual feature was its control system. Instead of military-grade equipment, the Orion was piloted with a video game controller. Inside, there were no real seats, just a small viewing window and a makeshift toilet beside it, without privacy. Unlike steel or titanium vessels that had proven their durability under crushing pressures, Orion's carbon fiber body was an untested experiment. Critics had long warned about the risks of such a design. Some engineers and deep-sea explorers even sent letters years before, warning that such shortcuts in safety could lead to catastrophe. The search and discovery for days, the search teams fought against time. The Orion carried only 96 hours of oxygen. Rescue crews dropped sonar buoys, and remotely operated vehicles dove deep into the darkness. On the 3rd day, faint banging sounds were detected underwater, raising hopes that the passengers might still be alive. But on the 4th day, an ROV discovered scattered debris near the Titanic wreck, about 500 meters from the ship's bow. The pieces were unmistakable. The Orion had been destroyed by a catastrophic implosion, the opposite of an explosion. Instead of bursting outward, the hull had been crushed inward instantly by the massive water pressure. Experts explained that the passengers likely died in less than a millisecond, without ever realizing what happened. The aftermath. The implosion confirmed what many specialists had feared. Carbon fiber was not a reliable material for such extreme depths. Legendary oceanographer Robert Ballard, who had discovered the Titanic in 1985, pointed out that thousands of dives had been conducted safely in steel or titanium vessels, but never before had a craft imploded like this. Even filmmaker James Cameron, who had personally dived into the deep ocean many times, criticized the Orion's design as reckless and unsafe. Despite repeated warnings, Ethan Rourke had dismissed safety regulations as a waste that stifled innovation. In fact, years earlier, a former employee had even taken him to court over concerns about the Orion's lack of certification. Yet Rourke pressed on, determined to prove his experimental design. In the end, like the Titanic itself, the Orion became a symbol of human arrogance, an invention meant to conquer nature, only to be destroyed by it. Its passengers joined the long list of explorers who paid the ultimate price for their daring, And history repeated itself once again, in the same waters where the Titanic sank more than a century ago.